What's up, guys? Mikey in the building. Hope you guys had a good couple of weeks. I hope you had a good Friday. ARBB is one of the main ones I traded today. I did trade ELAB. I can sit here and I can go over a lot of names that went through the more of hot cycle that we just had with smallies, which is great, especially for a lot of us small cap traders. You know, um, drugs set it off, of course. That's pretty well known around. And then there's a sequence of movers, a lot of bio names, a lot of penny runners, a couple of RS names. So that was great. Bef- Before that happened, we had a period where it was pretty slow for a couple weeks, even 3 weeks. I know some say maybe it was dead for a couple months. However, I don't really believe that. There's still opportunities where, for example, ARBB, where things actually fill gaps. We get some type of structure, and things will set up, they'll consolidate, and then they'll actually take off. Things are filling gaps. I have a lot of videos and I go over a lot of trades where we're getting 30, 40%, 30, 40%, and then we get 50, 60, 70% returns. You have to trade them differently, but we are getting them, and if you break down your months throughout the year, there's a lot of good runners that we have, right? So I think grabbing 30, 40%, learning how to size into that, even one per day, a couple per week, is amazing, right? Looking for rotations, right? What's a rotation? A rotation for a scalp. Maybe you didn't catch this move, but you learn how to soak a rotation and then look for a 20, 30% scalp. Now, these pennies, they give a lot of range, so even this scalp right here is 30%, another 20%, which is phenomenal, right? But yeah, sorry I didn't post a lot of videos. It was an insane couple of weeks, particularly for someone who soaks and kind of went crazy with that. So it was very rewarding and an eye opener in another way. I've kind of went into this orbit doing all that, and I'm excited to continue the process, right? So I'm gonna go over ARBB. So again, I think there's plenty of opportunity every single week, every month. It's where you put your focus on, you know. So that's important, right? ARBB, and then I'll go over ELAB. ELAB was a little different. ARBB was great. This one took a while to me. Again, I'll go over this on the book. Before I do that, great daily though. We actually started to accumulate some volume. This had about 20 mil before it actually took off, um, consolidating the pre-market and then stepping up right here. Okay, it's cool. It did do a little 5-minute flag, but particularly it didn't even add that because of this, which was crazy because I was not even focused on this 5-minute chart at all for once, which is mind blowing to me again. But great daily. It's a lot of sideways action. Okay, again, a lot of sideways action. There's really not a lot of volume anywhere in this consolidation except for right here, right? And even then, that was just a couple mil. So it did have that 52-week high volume, which is important, right? All right. This to me was no different than a few of the recent runners, and people are probably not going to understand this because I haven't been posting videos, but I do talk about it inside the rooms. But this to me was a nice, huge controlled walk down with these offers, right? And then we started the base above 40, which was still above that daily level. So this is a lot of volume that was pulled back, consolidated, and then this is where I took a first rotation trade and then actually sized into this play right here. All right, this pulled back over a previous area, so this would have been a breakdown zone. This pulled back right above it, consolidated above it, and also a previous area of interest where they remove this liquidity. It pulls back, doesn't really restack it. We break out. Before this went, there wasn't a hidden seller on this one, which was great if you're watching level 2 on this one. And then the bids came. the front runner, well, not front runner, the spoof bid. Someone came over here and stacked this guy, a couple hundred K, and then again over here, right? That was great, another 100K, and then they ran this up. All right, this was phenomenal. One of the things I did talk about was particularly being mindful of structure. Always be mindful of structure. However, once this started to create massive volume, 66 was an important area for me because this is where it also failed right here with this 1 minute. So I wanted to make sure that this thing gets above 66. So 66 was definitely a spot where I did take some profits. All right, but what was really cool about this one is once we ran into that level, we actually broke out of that level. All right, and did not break down. It got a little jiggy right here, which was fine, but this started to build, 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 and actually fill the daily gap right here. That was a great return. Um, I did not play any of these rotation plays, but even these rotation plays, again, were not that bad, right? Maybe I would definitely, I think, good ad powers right there. So you got 20% right there. If you soaked again, you got another 20%. So there's two opportunities to actually rotate this, right? I look at these as totally different trades, right? Soak play and then a rotation play. A soak play to hold for a bigger return, and then uh, a rotation play looking for previous structure. It's so important to see where we consolidated and failed, where we consolidated and failed. Um, I see a lot of plays fail around these areas, so this is why sometimes PTs for me will be areas where they fail, right? I think that's key in that one. However, this was a great return. On this one, it was I didn't catch this whole 70% move because I actually consolidated more right here. So I scaled out a lot on this push. First target 66, and this is where I re-added. This was a nice SSR dump. All right. This was a fast dump back into this previous area. This is a nice breakdown zone. If you have your zone or you drew this out, I've particularly been using the book even more on these, right? So I would have drew my zone probably right there, right clicked, ran it out, right? Really, really simple. So I would have, again, had that, but I've been using the book more than anything. Really get locked in and then start trading off this, right? I can see the zone right here, right? You know, it kind of fails right here, pulls back. We finally break above it. Now we're pulling above it, and we're trading above this previous breakdown area. So when things pull back in there, I'm looking for reactions, how things are selling off. This particular one had a bid. They sell some into the bid, right? It doesn't break down. It consolidates more above a zone, which was nice. And then we had a new set of bidders bidding this up, which is phenomenal. All right. That was a great play. Elab. Elab. So. Elab. Let's go look at Elab. Again, this might be a little dry for a couple people that I already talked to with this. Elab, this is a different daily. You know, this is a window gap daily. You know, a gap down from a previous level where it failed, and then created a window gap, and then it had an attempt of a bounce. So you know, 14 was important right there. That's VWAP from that dump day. This was a very aggressive move, so we did swipe those areas and actually make new highs per daily. Well, when this one was pulling back, it was so heavy and aggressive. And the fact that it tried to swipe right here again with a lot of volume, filling these orders and just buyers getting absorbed was a lot different than a kind of that walk down type of look. Okay, that's super important, right? Get that from seeing these moves over and over and over again. Even this walk down, it was heavy. It wasn't necessarily controlled. When there's big bids popping up, they all got filled into. A couple of spoofs right there and a little book flip. But a lot of the times they just kept staying heavy where it would try to bounce. This looks hidden. They try to break it through. Offers come in again. This was very, very heavy. It was moreover selling into all the bids. a way different walk down on this one. However, I did accumulate some of this before open, and then once we had this 930 dip right here above this breakdown zone, I added again, and it's clear risk for me on that one. Sometimes you're not going to see bids, and that's fine. Bids did come in after. Just zone trading for me. This needed a breakout. This did not break out. They didn't have that crazy bid follow-up, as you probably just saw right here, right? And then even on ARBB, right? They pulled these guys. This one gets sold into, and then they restacked 18 up here. Remember going over Vin? He pointed out the 60K offer on that one. And then this book got real heavy, and it just started to sell off drastically. There's not a lot of support on this. So that was ELAB. You know, it wasn't that bad of a scalp, especially because it was pretty cheap. You know, slapped a little heavy on it. This is when you get this type of structure now. It's again, this is a huge level for me in this area. So a lot of the times these open market and they run with pretty good volume. I mean, this is not bad. You know, I wish it was more consistent and actually broke out. That would have been phenomenal. But this is a good PT for me, all right, because you know, just from playing this and then averaging up a little bit right here on that dip, you know, is not bad. It's 26% on that one. I did sell most of my shares in this and then just kind of waited to see what it was going to do at open print in this particular pivot. And then I moved my stop up to 15 because I soaked a lot of this right here before open and then bought the dip. So that was not bad. It was a nice little wallet pad too because, you know, the stock was only 15 cents. I was able to slam a little some size on that. But that was pretty much it. But that was very important to understand because once we had this right here, this little flag and this false breakout, then combining that with the book was great. This should have went. I was expecting this to actually break out and test more of this upper liquidity, but that didn't happen. It would have been nice for this to really break out and then fill its gap up to 27. That would have been awesome, but that didn't happen. So being more aware of how and what things should react to has been also pretty amazing. And then utilizing this book for me all the time. It's been a year. So, you know, having this hot cycle we just had and then having this was phenomenal. It was, you know, you could take off for the rest of the year for sure. But I love trading, so I don't want to do that. But that's all I got, guys. I wanted to go over that. It's very important too. Again, you know, make sure you study these hot runs, see how they react, how they follow up. You know, when that really happens, it's really important. I was staying up all night, waking up at 4, and then I'm, you know, watching the rig, watching things set up, and then now I'm just gonna still do that no matter what. Right? There's a lot of studying to do still. The more you stay on top of these things, the more you're gonna be able to accelerate. Even in slower markets, right? Sometimes things are slow and you just sit there and you watch paint dry. But you prepare yourself and prep, right? Kind of go over charts, build your playbook. You know, right? You know, with this book right here, all these daily runners I run, take screenshots, put them in, write up some notes, do a nice write up. Even if you're not trading some names, you know, I didn't participate in MNPR. Yeah, I didn't. So I didn't participate in this. You know, this one wasn't my style, right? But that's okay. Yeah, I don't need to trade something like this. Maybe if this had more structure and maybe a soak pattern, and then going into that, maybe I would have traded it. But this kind of went like crazy, and I just, you know, micro, low float, nano float, and I just didn't do it. And then yeah, I think it was a UPXI. I didn't trade this one either. Very similar concepts. These low floats kind of halting over and over and over again. I didn't trade that one either. I was focused and locked in because when this one was doing all this, I was watching ARBB set up, right? Last but not least, before I get out of here, you know, it's important to stick to what you want to do so you don't get distracted by other things because maybe there's momentum going on a name that's Momo trading. particular name, but it draws the focus from watching good daily setup that can give you really good returns. Um, so make sure you just see where you want to put your focus in and build off that. All right, much love, guys. Peace out, Mikey.